What's going on, everybody? Dash Michaels here, and welcome to another episode of Shorts and Hoodies. It's the SNH Podcast, episode 5. Tonight, my guests, Theo and Chase. We're talking Saturday Night Live, episode 5, SNH. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Dash Michaels here. Welcome to another episode of Shorts and Hoodies. This is the SNH Podcast. Tonight, my guests, Theo, Jace. We are talking Saturday Night Live. How we doing today, guys?
Good, man. Good.
Partying.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is actually my second episode to where I've reached out to people on Reddit, and it's really interesting. Last episode that I had was the first one, and we did a whole football episode, because of course in the news we had Colin Kaepernick and Tim Tebow conversations back and forth and stuff like that. So we kind of merged it into football movies. Tonight, though, Saturday Night Live has been one of my absolute favorite shows. It's not my favorite show of all times, but it probably of an all time. I mean, how many seasons we're at? 45 now, I think, something like that. 46,
something like that. Yeah.
For a show that long, I mean, there's been some great moments.
Definitely.
In TV history, and I know this is a movie podcast, but I couldn't not do a Saturday Night Live episode. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're talking cast members. We're talking post-career movies and projects that they've all been a part of, whether we're talking Anchorman, whether we're talking Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or we're talking 30 Rock. We're talking about it all. Guys, thank you all so much for coming on to the show tonight. Theo, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
All right. Hello. My name is Theo Alexander. I live in Duluth, Minnesota. Honestly, I like to party. That's it. That's the whole thing.
You can't like to party. I like to party. So
I already said I like to party. You got to pick a different thing.
My name is Dash. I like to party. That's right. Theo.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I like chilling, watching TV. My favorite TV show of all time is 30 Rock, short for 30 Rockefeller, starring New York's own Alec Baldwin, and of course, New York's own Tina Fey.
Great show. Great show. One of my absolute favorite characters, what's the dude's name, Champ?
Oh, Frank.
Yeah, and then Toofer.
Toofer, of course.
Chase, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Chase Todd. I'm one half of the Chase and Shep show. We started that up back in December, reviewing. We started it as the 25 Slays of Christmas, where we were reviewing Christmas-themed horror movies, and we have since grown into a variety show of sorts. We do Mental Health Mondays, WTF Wednesdays, and Fantastic Fridays. So nice. we cover a wide breadth of things, including sketch comedy, which that's why I had to come talk about some Saturday Night Live. It's nice to be on somebody else's show for once.
Yeah, awesome. I might have to have you come back in a couple of weeks. We're actually doing a horror episode.
I saw that. I was going to throw my name into that as well. I'd love to be.
We have a couple of guys that are on another podcast called Ginger Flakes, and I have them on. They've been on twice already. I mean, granted, this is only, I think this is my 5th episode now, but they've been in 2 of the 5 episodes because one of the guys I work with. So they're great guys, and starting to put together you're an all-star member if you've been on more than one episode. And then maybe one day I'll have a 5-timers club. So that'll be kind of cool and kind of tie this back into here. So looking back, the show, 46 years on the air, is just going all the way back to John Belushi, to Eddie Murphy, Will Ferrell, Dana Carvey, one of my personal favorites, David Spade, Andy Samberg, Bill Hader, Maya Rudolph, Kate McKinnon. Let's talk about the collective of a cast. Okay. So we can sit here and go, you ask a lot of older people, the original cast is going to be the best to them. Okay?
Right.
You have somebody like me, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I am a Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, Adam Sandler, Kevin Nealon fan. The 90s were my favorite. You have a lot of young kids who only know these are the digital short years, of Maya Rudolph, Jimmy Fallon, even. Because Jimmy Fallon was one of those, he was kind of in between seasons. He was part of that Will Ferrell seasons, but he still kind of drifted into, the Andy Samberg, almost those kind of years. Break down for me your favorite cast, if you will.
I mean, it's a tough one because I know I'm a young gun myself. I'm only 26.
Okay.
So I definitely.
So let me ask you this then. So what cast did you grow up with?
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember the very, very, very first time I ever saw Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
I was at the ER when I was a kid,
Okay.
and I would have to assume it was a Saturday night because it was, late at night, and
Right.
we're sitting there in the waiting room, and there's this show on TV, and Jimmy Fallon and I believe maybe Horatio Sands was in a skit. But I know for a fact Jimmy Fallon was in whatever skit it was. I'm watching this show just enthralled by this. I'm just like, what is this show? And how have I never heard about it before?
Right.
And
How
my
old were
mother,
you?
I was like very, very little. I was probably third, fourth grade around that
Okay.
time, probably around the 2003, 2004 range.
Okay.
And my mom proceeded to explain to me, oh, well, that's Saturday Night Live, and shortly thereafter, a lot of kids these days don't know what a Blockbuster is, but we'd go
Right.
down to Blockbuster, and she would rent me the best of, and that's what really started getting me into it more, was watching the best of Chris Farley, the best of Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, Adam Sandler, and I couldn't get enough of it. And then I probably started watching it regularly, probably in the late 2000s, early 2010s,
Okay.
is when I started watching pretty consistently with Sandberg and all of them doing their thing with the digital short era, like you were saying.
Those were great. I think it was for me. I think for me, the digital shorts is what kept me coming back. Like, it was always one of those things that I knew I was going to watch Saturday Night Live. I knew SNL Saturday night. I was going to watch it. When the digital shorts happened, I looked forward to it. Not because they were good, don't get me wrong, but it was, what's that little twist going to be? One of my favorite ones is people getting punched in the face before.
Yes.
And it was just like, from where it starts to where that skit ends, it just takes you on a ride, and it's just fucking hilarious. So growing up during those Fallon years, take the whole series into consideration. What would be your favorite cast, though, having grown up in that?
Well, I go back and forth because, I mean, like you said, like a lot of older people want to say, oh, well, the original cast is the best cast. And I think as far as like maybe the best cast, I might have to go like that 80s, 90s range where Adam Sandler and David Spade and Chris Farley, they were all on the show, and that was a great era. But I really like this cast they have now. Like these past 7 years, I've actually really enjoyed the cast. I think they started to really kind of dip, like in that transitional period in between the 2000s and 2010s. It got a little rough at times, and I'd say when I was looking at the list of cast members and stuff, I saw that Colin Jost and Michael Che took over Weekend Update about 7 or 8 seasons ago.
Right.
And
so they're coming near to the end.
Yeah. Which I actually really dig them.
I do too. And it was one of those things too, I think, because Seth and Amy were the last ones, correct?
Yes.
For Update. And most people, other than Kenan, most people, if they're going to have a long career at SNL, they're only going to be there for 8 years. Then they're out of there.
Right.
And I think Kenan has been there 11.
18.
He was there how long?
He's been there for 18.
God damn.
18 years.
Like, he can vote now. From that to that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, growing up, what was it? Tim Meadows had been there the longest, I think. And Tim was one of my favorites on the show. Not that great of a career afterwards, except for like Ladies Man.
Yeah.
But great cameos in movies and stuff. Theo, what about you? What cast did you grow up with versus what is your favorite overall cast now?
Okay, so when my introduction to SNL in general is going to be around that same time, 2008, 2009. I remember it was right when Seth Meyers was taking over Weekend Update, I believe.
Okay.
That would have been around that time. So that digital short era as well. But even before that, I grew up with all of Adam Sandler's movies. You know what I mean? Like we would watch the VHS tapes until they were done, toast, completely ruined, until we had to go get more copies from the thrift store or whatever. Billy Madison, obviously Happy Gilmore. And then of course, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. That's the stuff that I like can quote from memory. Absolutely, all the way through. That's the stuff I grew up on, So, but the ideal cast is going to be, obviously, it's going to be Farley and Sandler all the way. They're just a comedic duo that was unparalleled, and still to this day, I think is hard to come by. Yeah. And I will say, Pete Davidson, that guy's pretty funny.
Oh yeah,
I called his success fucking 8 years ago when he started this show. I was like, this guy's going somewhere. I'm like, I bet he's going to be really big.
I think his success kind of mirrors in a little bit of a way the way Sandberg's did, where this is not a guy who is your typical. He's not a movie star, but he has star quality that just when you look at him, it's funny. His stand-up that they did was fucking hilarious. Like, I haven't laughed that hard in so long for a stand-up special. Like, I do that with Mulaney.
I was just gonna say Mulaney is Mulaney and Mike Birbiglia too for me.
Oh God, yes.
Those are the two. Those are the two big ones.
The whole the TiVo skit, him falling off the shelf, is one of the funniest fucking things ever. But no. Pete Davidson, his stand-up, I think it was on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
Was so good. And it wasn't what I expected. Seeing that person on SNL who can rarely get in a skit, like, why is this guy here? His funniest stuff to me at least, was that 3 or 4 minute segment on Weekend Update, which was hilarious. It was just him being him. Right. But yeah, so going into like stand up, I was like, I'd been listening to the advertisements when it came out, and then I was like, fine, I'll sit here and watch it. And it was one of the best stand-ups I've heard in such a long time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his whole bit on the Ariana Grande situation, where he's basically like, I'm, this is my version of like a rap diss, like I have to do this. Like she totally screwed me. And I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good one.
Yeah. Let's kind of shift here. Let's talk about, so we're talking about favorite casts, certain seasons, all time. I think one of the most important thing, and it's something I think that can make or break a cast, is the interaction that they have with their host. One of my favorite, at least we'll call this the modern times versus, I mean, if we're going to go comics, we'll go modern. Silver would be, I don't know, anything from Ferrell to Spade. And then of course, the golden era would be the originals. Chevy, Martin, Gilder, all the original people. I think at least of the modern times, I think the best host has been Justin Timberlake. And it's been one of those things to where he almost, because he had been on there so many times, he almost felt like he was a cast member. What are your thoughts on that? On the interaction between hosting and our cast.
I would say his relationship and his comedic timing with Fallon was something that was close to that Sandler Spade era, where it's so funny and it's unexpected. You don't think that they're going to work as well as they do together, and you can tell that from Fallon's show as well. There was just this genius that's between them that absolutely hilarious every single time. I really liked it. So. Yeah, I would say unofficial cast member for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I would definitely say, it definitely, I don't know if I want to say hosts can make or break a show, because sometimes, I think sometimes they can, but then I've noticed other times where maybe the host isn't in as many skits, and the show can still do okay without that. There have been times where people have come to host Saturday Night Live and it's completely changed my opinion of them. It's completely given me like this whole new, growing when I was a kid, High School Musical came out, and that's what everybody knew Zac Efron from, was that. And the first time I got to see him be funny and prove that he was so much more than that was Saturday Night Live. Same with Chris Hemsworth. I saw him host Saturday Night Live, and I was like, "Why is this guy not doing more comedy?"
Exactly.
He did after that. He definitely did after that. But I definitely think one of my favorite hosts of modern times had to be Chappelle.
Oh yeah, Chappelle. Yeah. Going back to Efron, the pizza rolls commercial, probably one of my favorite things I've ever seen him do. Just between, and I don't know if it was, I think it was a little bit of him, but it was more so Fred Armisen as the mom. The "I am your mother" was just like, it was just comedic gold. And I'm not a big Armisen fan whatsoever. Really? I don't like him.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think some of it is, and I'm sorry for anybody who's listening or watching that may be offended by this, I don't like Portland, Oregon, because it's just everything about it just bothers me. It doesn't matter if it doesn't, all the stuff that's been going on for this past time aside. It's just something about the top left of the United States that just kind of bothers me, and that's where Portland is. And every time I hear Portland, I think Fred Armisen, and it's one of those things that I just can't. But I loved him on the show.
To his credit, his stand-up is awful. He's a great interview, though. Have you seen Stand Up for Drummers?
Nope.
It's so awful. Yeah. There's this whole bit where he does accents about the
not
whole...
selling me on this whatsoever.
Wait, I'll get there. He does accents through the whole United States, and it feels like it goes on for 45 minutes because he's just talking, right? But his work on Parks and Rec, he did like an episode, I think. It was so fantastically funny. He made that entire episode.
Well, I will say something like this too. Him on Brooklyn Nine-Nine as Molybdenous. Barely any dialogue,
because he's somebody on Saturday Night Live I really enjoy, but I just could not get into Portlandia. Like, that was just not something I couldn't even try it. They're definitely, Fred Armisen is definitely pretty hit or miss, but when it comes to him on Saturday Night Live, he hits quite a bit for me.
He's got this specific character, this specific type of character where it's all or nothing. That's what I love about Fred Armisen, is that he sells himself so hard to a character where you get lost in that character. Like the mom character, for example, you forget that Fred Armisen is not that kid's mom. You know what I mean? It's all or nothing. So for that alone, I'm sold on Fred Armisen.
Yeah, again, on the complete flip side of Portlandia, Documentary Now is hilarious. I think Documentary Now is hilarious. Him and Bill Hader, and that's exactly what you're saying, is him just completely getting into this character. I remember the episode they did where they were doing the parody of Grey Gardens, and they were the two old women living in the house together.
I have seen that.
It's hilarious.
I have seen that. Yeah, he's, I don't know. He seems like he would be a cool and fun guy to hang out with and just kind of shoot the shit. But when he's like, I gotta go to work,
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, when as long as it's not in Portland, we can go to Seattle. We can go to Seattle all day, but I'm not going to Portland. And again, I don't even know what it is because I've never been to Portland. I've only seen it on TV and in magazines and books in this mythical land of Portland.
I'm sure it's fine.
Every time I hear it, I'm just like, God damn Portland.
It's just, it probably just smells like patchouli and craft coffee. It's probably fine. And pee.
It's probably fine.
Artisan pee, of course. It's got to be. I will say, on sort of like Will Forte, that guy was a sleeper hit for me.
Absolutely.
From his work on Tim and Eric to 30 Rock, SNL, and then now the Last Man on Earth. That guy absolutely grew on me. I did not like him at first at all, but he's one of those guys where he flipped for me absolutely after his career with SNL, to be honest. So good.
I like his dramatic stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw he's in that upcoming Sweet Tooth that's coming out on Netflix. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a huge Last Man on Earth fan.
That's too bad.
It really is.
It's a Fox show. It's unabashed a Fox show.
Premise and everything. It's on paper like this is the perfect show for somebody like him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is. I think for me, especially Will Forte, I can enjoy him as MacGruber any day, all day.
Absolutely.
One of the worst money-making movies. I will watch that movie over and over and over, and it's just fucking hilarious. But more than anything, for me on SNL, it was the ESPN Classic. Just his simple-minded between him and was it Sudeikis?
I think so.
Was just perfection between Sudeikis's kind of like. He was almost like a mixture between Stuart Scott and Pacino, the way he would just kind of yell at the camera and just let it linger. And you would look at Forte and he would just have like this there's nothing going on up here face that was just gold to me. And I every time I saw ESPN Classic, that skit was just, and however they were going to work in, whether it's like, what was it? The Stay Pack, the Maxi Pad 500 or something like that, and they would just run on with the jokes. Was just hilarious.
Yeah, and I don't know how far you made it into Last Man on Earth, but as the layers kept unpeeling, and that he most definitely is not the only person on planet Earth.
And I think that's what it was, because what was it? Who is it? Kristen Schill?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the voice for me. She's so funny. She really is.
But him and Sudeikis ended up playing brothers in that show, and that was definitely one of the best episodes. Was their little prank war between the two of them.
Maybe I'll need to go back and watch it now.
It's so worth it, because I think what is it, like a 5 or 6 episode arc where Sudeikis is in it, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah,
it's definitely surprising when he returns, and the way that they write that character is just so fantastic. It's the classic older brother character.
Yeah, that prank war. There's 2 scenes in that episode that I think are absolutely hysterical. It's the prank war that they have, and then when they start singing "Falling Slowly" on karaoke over and over and over again. That scene is hilarious.
It's great. It's I think that show is worth a rewatch. If you've got time for it, you should do it. It's
another Lord and Miller classic.
All right, let's kind of shift topics here. We've talked about the host, the cast, and everything. One of the biggest parts of the show, whether you like it or not, is politics. Okay, it can get hella political. It can get dumb sometimes. Where we're talking Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter in their early years, or even Alec Baldwin as Donald Trump. So what are our thoughts of how politics has shaped SNL?
Well, for one, I think it's kept it afloat. for a long time, especially as much as I do like this cast and everything. I think the politics the past 4 years have really helped them out. I think that really gave them quite a bit to work with. But one skit in particular that is probably one of my favorites of all time is a political one. And it was when, around the time, I don't know if it was when Obama got elected the first time or the second time, and all of the presidents came to visit him. And Jim Carrey played Ronald Reagan, and Will Ferrell came back as Bush. And oh my God, that is hilarious. It's like, I'm trying to think of what it said. like Washington said to Adams, "Tag, you're it." And he takes off. It was such a great skit.
Theo, what do you think?
Dana Carvey as Dick Cheney, and Will Ferrell as George Bush, and most recently Jim Carrey as Biden.
Yeah.
So fucking funny, untouchably funny. Yeah, it's one of those things where you're absolutely right. It has not only kept it afloat, but kept it relevant. It really holds up the fact that SNL is going to always be a time capsule. It's always going to hold a moment in time by its face and be like, this is what was happening at the time. It's a pretty good point of preservation. It always has been. That's kind of what's held up SNL. So politics are crucial to the show. Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't think when Carrie was announced that he was going to be Biden on the show, I was like, really? Because dude looks nothing like. And then he came out, and I was like, God damn! Like,
I was
that's
thrilled.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've always been one of those people, and I think growing up with the show when I did, I mean, obviously I was a kid. And even in my early 20s and stuff, I was like, I don't care about this politics stuff. I've got, career and stuff to worry about or whatever. But I think now more so being an adult and politics are, paying attention to everything that's going on. It's so prevalent. I think it's really easy to get offended, but it's also easy to laugh, especially during the last 4 years with Trump, the time that we're in now. There's been times to where I'm like, hey, that's not cool, but that's really fucking funny. Like,
I mean, that's comedy for you.
Exactly.
It's that line. Yeah, it's identifying that line.
Yeah. And I didn't think, like, in the beginning, it was like Alec Baldwin is going to play Donald Trump. And I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. And then he did it. And I was just like, does it look like him? It's one of those things like, do I look good? Well, from this angle you do. Like, does he look like Trump from certain angles? But like the impression is funny, like the content is funny. For me, it goes back to George W. Bush, Will Ferrell, and Dana Carvey as Ross Perot. The ship shoot. Can I finish? Probably Perot was my favorite, and I think mainly because I was 18 at the time, and this was Bush, Clinton, Perot, and it was like one of the first times where we had three really big people here, and it was just Carvey was just magic.
Well, you want to talk about a fantastic stand-up special when Will Ferrell did what was it called? You're Welcome, America.
Yeah.
The whole special as George W. Bush. That was hysterical.
Him, just the lockbox and strategy. Like, that was just one of my absolute favorite, like, cold opens. Just comedy gold. Love it. So we had talked about hosts making or breaking a cast. Now, Chase, you said this cast right here is one of your favorites, correct? Let's talk about the host that we just had not that long ago and how that interaction with Elon Musk and the cast that we have right now, how did that work out? How far of the episode did you get?
I watched the whole thing. I did. I watched the whole thing.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I typically, I don't know, SNL, it's not one that I'm like, I'm not going to watch the rest of this. I've watched every episode this season since, I believe Chris Rock was the first one this season. Oh. And I heard all the controversy around, it's so controversial, Elon Musk is going to be on there. I'm like, why? I mean, I don't understand quite why. Like, I don't know why it's controversial, and I honestly don't know why Elon Musk is coming to do Saturday Night Live.
Right.
But
so what were your initial thoughts? So for both of you, it's announced that Elon Musk is going to be doing SNL. Andrew Yang comes out after Elon Musk tweets out, "We're going to see how live Saturday Night Live is."
Yeah.
He tweets out, "What the fuck does this even mean?" Like, and then SNL Lorne Michaels telling cast members that if they don't want to be on the show, that SNL has a safe space, a show that has taken pride in poking fun at other people. Can they take a joke? So what are your thoughts on that whole situation? Granted, we're weeks removed now. That's old news, but I'm interested to see what's your take on that. I think for me, originally, I was just like, I don't even know. I would think I was kind of like how Andrew Yang was. What does that even mean? Like, there are segments that are live and there's segments that are not. But the show is live. We're going to intercut it with commercials and stuff like that. I think for me, when it came to the safe space, that's where I was like, you make a living poking fun at people, but no.
Yeah.
I was very confused and kind of taken back by that.
I was actually surprised when I believe his name Bowen Yang is
Bowen Yang.
is
Okay,
his name. And Bowen Yang was actually in a skit with him.
He was in the very first skit. He was in the very first skit.
He's in the very first one?
The medical skit.
Oh, was he in that one? Yeah.
He was,
right.
and that's why I was like,
he was in a couple, and I was like, I was a little surprised because I know he was the one in particular that I saw kind of.
I think it was him and 80 Bryant, and I think if I'm not mistaken, 80 was she in the Chad skit?
Maybe.
I think she
maybe because all in all, it was a very forgettable episode. Like, that was last week, and I could not tell you much of what happened. That Wario skit, I thought was dumb as hell. I thought that was dumb as hell. Yeah. I thought his opening monologue was super awkward.
I thought it was awkward, but I think it kind of gave us a sneak peek into who Elon Musk is.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it allowed him to be a little vulnerable. And I kind of appreciated it because he's this god-like figure that sits up on a mountaintop,
real life Tony Stark,
right? And now it's like he's just a regular person doing a TV show, and it's live. Everything is kind of stripped away. So I appreciated it a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I could feel that, and we were talking earlier about how he's been in other things in a cameo role and stuff like that, and he'll be perfectly fine. It'll all be really smooth. But I don't know how much stuff you do with editing, but that's the magic of editing sometimes. I mean, we just did a skit show not too long ago we did a 420 show, and we filmed some skits, and we were both like, these are stupid as shit. Like, these are terrible. These are absolutely terrible. We did not feel good about them at all. But then once you edit it all together and throw in the sound effects and this and that, the other, you're like, oh, okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet that was like, if you're tuning in for just the Elon Musk episode, it's always this bad. And I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, all the episodes are this way.
That's the joke,
Yeah.
It goes back to, Giuliani,
right.
After 9/11, can we be funny? Why start now? That SNL is not funny.
Why start now?
Yeah. I thought it was good. I got to the Wario skit, and it was one of those things that I could not take it anymore. Talking about, I loved him. The short cameo that he had on Big Bang was really cool. It wasn't awkward at all, but I mean, that's the magic of take after take after take after take after take. It's the magic of editing.
That's the magic of having an acting coach too.
Exactly.
With SNL, the whole idea is that you just write them and film them. It's a 3-day process. It's not acting coach, planning, editing, take after take. It's you do it.
Yeah.
So, was it the week before Elon Musk that Daniel Kaluuya was on? Because that was a good episode. He was a great host. But that one I enjoyed a lot. He was definitely one of the better hosts this season. I will actually say that this season I have found to be one of the weaker ones for sure. There's definitely been some good episodes, but I've left a lot of episodes this season being like, that was all right.
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. And then they just announced just the other day, Keegan Michael Key.
Yes.
Is going to be.
Oh, is that who's on tonight?
Is it? I think it's tonight. It's tonight or next week.
Oh, that ought to be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found out that it was Saturday just now, so that's pretty fun. That's pretty good news. I had to check my watch. Like, is it actually? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I think it's tonight.
But I think, we're sitting here like, a lot of people sometimes are like, it's not that funny and all that stuff. And I think it's just like, it's just like a comfort factor, because it's a show that like everybody has that moment. We all find it. We all like find Saturday Night Live at one point or another. I know, like, I've got a cousin, he's like in his 60s, and like that's something that we've bonded over time is just, hey, it's Saturday night, you want to watch Saturday Night Live? Like, yeah, I'll stay up with you, and it's just, I think it's just one of those comfort things, like good, bad, it's Saturday Night Live.
Exactly.
Yep, agree. Usually the end of the episodes, we always do a draft. Before that, though, I want to talk about post SNL careers. We've had some really, really great people have amazing careers after they have left the show. We've had some not so great cast members go on to have amazing careers. And then we've had vice versa. We've had amazing cast members who have had not so great careers afterwards. We can talk about the Will Ferrells. We can talk about the Robert Downey Jr.'s. And then we can talk about the Chris Kattans. Who is kind of looking at the overall of the entire span, 46 years, SNL, who do you think would be in your top 5? And you can give me any order. You can have a specific order. What is your post-career top 5 SNL cast member? What is your list?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I don't know. I got the Sandman right up here on my wall.
Uncut Gems.
And we were talking about Will Forte earlier, and I actually, everybody I can think of who's post SNL careers I enjoy. It's because they do dramatic stuff too, and they're very good at it. So honestly, I think right off the top of my dome, Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, Bill Hader, Will Forte, and then as far as post SNL, I don't know, maybe Bill Murray.
Okay.
It's cool. You can have my whole list. That's fine.
Is that my list? I think Ferrell's going to be in everybody's list. The man, the career he had on SNL versus the career he had after SNL, they're very similar to where he's one of those people that he kind of can just succeed at just life. I think he's such a positive person that I think it drifts into his career. He is his career. Those characters, the dad barbecuing, yelling at the kids to get out the shed, hilarious shit. And then you have Talladega Nights that is very different than those characters or Spartan cheerleaders or whatever. But still, you go, yeah, that's Will Ferrell.
Right.
So is your list exactly the same?
It's pretty close. So we've got Adam Sandler at number 1, of course, because of roles like Punch Drunk Love or like the Meyerowitz Stories on Netflix. Those are 2 of my favorite movies of all time. Also,
Reign Over Me is a very underrated one. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That can't fail with that. I honestly got that because it was an Adam Sandler movie. I rented it from Hollywood Video, of course. And I was so surprised that I wasn't laughing the whole time, but it just was such a good movie that stays on my top 10 list forever.
Absolutely.
So, and it's going to be Will Ferrell for things like, obviously he does College Humor. He does, he's got that movie from the 2013, Everything Must Go. That's a great serious role that he does. But then movies like Talladega Nights, he's got those quintessential Will Ferrell roles post SNL. He's obviously old school is what really started him as, hey, this guy could be a star. You know what I mean? And Step Brothers is one of the most, I think still to this day, one of the most quoted movies of all time since
definitely
easily. And that Adam Scott, John C. Reilly, those are 2 of my favorite guys now because of that movie. You know, it's great. And then I will go, let's see. This is kind of a tough one.
It really is.
Will Forte is also one of those guys for me that like anything he's in, I kind of want to see. Bill Hader is going to be that for me because of movies like Skeleton Twins. And, you know, obviously it's hard for me to not love Kristen Wiig for that same reason, because anything she's in, I'm all over it, you know?
Well, anything
those two are
Wonder Woman 84.
Well, what is that? That movie.
Wonder what?
Yeah.
Wonder,
I will say she was fine. She was fine in that movie. And I was like, damn, girl, like, really? Okay. This movie sucks, but you fine.
You fine. Yeah, I love Kristen Wiig. And to that same effect, it's just Tina Fey for me all the way. She's one of those cast members that not only was a writer on the show, not only a writer on 30 Rock, but things like Mean Girls, anything that Tina Fey has been a part of, I've genuinely liked, short of that one Amy Poehler Tina Fey movie. I think it's called Baby Mama.
Baby Mama.
What the fuck?
Hey, man. No. Girls love that.
Whatever, man. I don't know. Not for me. But Tina Fey, that's gonna be my 5 right there.
What was the whole breakdown? It was like, what happens when like a 40-year-old woman can't have a child, so she calls her 43-year-old friend to have one for her? I'm like, oh, that's right. She is older than her.
So somebody I would have put as number 5 rather than Bill Murray. Because Bill Murray's he's Bill Murray. But I want to say Pete Davidson, but I don't know if it counts as like a post SNL career, because I feel like he's really starting to take off on SNL. Yep. But King of Staten Island was one of my favorite movies last year. Yeah. Judd Apatow has been
so good.
A huge influence on me as a filmmaker, and that I think is his best movie.
I'm a huge like Judd Apatow fan.
Oh, he's fantastic. I mean, he does realism and in humor in such a way that I don't really see a whole lot of other filmmakers do. And I know that that blended into me quite a bit, like going forward in my writing and directing. And I saw an interview with him and Jason Bateman recently where he's like, I'm no David Fincher. Like, I can't do the 100 takes. He's like, I can't imagine a movie where things aren't constantly changing like 24/7 while we're making a movie. And then I also, I did see, to kind of tie in your horror episode that's coming up with the Saturday Night Live, I did just see Spiral at the theater about a couple hours ago.
So I don't spoil anything for me. Really don't. Saw is one of my absolute favorite. It's one of my favorite franchises. Every year, Halloween, when the new Saw would come out year after year, I would sit down and go, all right, Saw 3's coming out. I got to watch the first 2. Saw 4's coming out. I got to watch the last 3.
I just did that this week.
Fucking yeah.
And so Spiral come out. Where I am, no theaters are open.
Damn, I just saw it in the IMAX, man.
Really?
I'm
hoping
it's the second Saw movie I've seen in theaters, but the only one I've ever seen in the IMAX. And the whole time I was sitting there, just as a movie geek, like I'm sure the other audience members weren't really like vibing with this, but I'm just like, man, the sound in here right now, you can hear every like rip of flesh and like just the sound system. I'm like, I'm so glad. I just think IMAX is the optimal way to see anything.
Well, I think with the new CDC information coming out and everything, hoping that some of these theaters will start to open up, even if things are like, vaccinated people sit over here, unvaccinated people sit over here. We're going to put a plexiglass down the middle of it. Whatever. I want to go back to theaters for reasons like Spiral. For me though, I think Will Ferrell is my number 1. Because I think the man can about let it slip out that the man could do no wrong. But then you make movies like Bewitched. And so there are movies that I think Will Ferrell has done. There was another one too, and I can't remember when I was making my list where I was
what's that Molly Shannon Will Ferrell joint?
Superstar?
Fuck that movie, dude. I hate
it.
Oh, I can't do it. There's this discomfort that lives in my brain with that movie. And I think it's just because like I was home from school, like sick with the flu, watching Comedy Central. And like that was the movie I watched. And I was like, what the fuck? I hate this. Yeah. And I've never tried again. I watched the whole thing and I was like,
isn't it amazing how one dramatic, life-changing moment can ruin something that's on TV. And we're like, I'll never fucking watch that shit again. I gotta go Ferrell for sure. Eddie Murphy's gonna be on my list.
Pluto Nash.
For 2 movies. Exactly. Norbit and Pluto fucking Nash. No. Bowfinger and Life.
Okay.
Life. I used to work at this record store in Chapel
You're
Hill.
being serious there for a minute.
No.
I was like,
ready.
no shit.
No. I used to work at this record store in Chapel Hill, and we would just like open up movies and put them in like the DVD player and just play movies all day long in the record store. We don't want you to listen to music. We want you to watch. We just want to watch the movie. No, Bowfinger and Life, especially Bowfinger. Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy together. It was just amazing. Then I'm probably gonna go. Schneider. I would put Schneider in my top of post careers, not in my top, SNL cast.
Sorry,
but no, yeah.
Zack Snyder's big right now, so I'm like Schneider.
Zack Schneider.
Rob Schneider. Yeah, I got you. Rob Schneider.
You know that one season when Zack Snyder was on the show.
I'd like to see
all the slow mo and shit.
God, could you imagine an SNL episode that was edited by Zack Snyder, 4 hours long?
I was gonna say.
I want to see the 4-hour cut of Rob Schneider's Animal, please.
Oh yeah.
What was the other one? The hot chick?
Can
I see it?
Animal, hot chick, Deuce Bigelow. But I think for me, it's the cameos. The cameos of Big Daddy and the Water Boy. It's just hilarious. You're only on screen for a couple minutes. But even grown-ups. I hate that he wasn't in the sequel, but him with that toupee was just hilarious. Macking on the grandma and everything was funny. I would probably put I'm torn between 2 people, and we'll just call this person Chris Myers or Mike Rock. Because between Austin Powers, I would have to go Mike Myers. Yeah.
Like Mike Hawk.
Yeah. I would have to go Mike Myers over Chris Rock for post-career. And I think it's movies like Shrek, Austin Powers, Wayne's World. But for me, the one that did it was So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh, so good.
I have to confess, one of my all-time favorite movies that I am determined will become a cult classic one of these days is The Cat in the Hat. Starring Mike Myers.
It's literally on its way. It on its way. It's on Netflix again, and I've seen some people make like Medium articles about it. There's things on Reddit that I've seen where people are like, no, this is genuinely funny. For example, there's the scene in which he cuts off his tail during an infomercial. That's good. It's good. I hated on it for a really long time because I saw it when it came out and I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Exactly that. It's bullshit. It's hilarious.
So good.
So where do you stand on The Love Guru?
Mike Myers can lose me. He can be a little too stupid.
It's just a horrible movie, and I'm a huge Justin Timberlake fan. The best line in that movie was Justin Timberlake he was like, "I will punch you in the shirt." Is one of the funniest lines in that movie, and it just makes no sense. So yeah, my 5th one. So I have Ferrell, Murphy, Myers, Schneider. My 5th one has got to be the worst castmate. The worst cast member in SNL history, Robert Downey Jr. His career, even Iron Man aside in the MCU, his role in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is what did it for me. Between him and Kilmer, whose careers at the time were just like nothing. I mean, Kilmer was doing The Saint, stuff like that.
Right.
I think this was. I don't remember if this was before or after Batman, but it was definitely on the way down.
Because this would have been around 2003, I believe, is when Kiss Kiss Bang Bang came out.
Post Tombstone as well.
Yeah.
So his fame was dwindling quickly.
Robert Downey Jr. was not really doing anything, and then Kiss Kiss Bang Bang came out. One of the best scripts, but the chemistry between the two of them. It's one of my top 5 movies of all time. That is what would put him in my top 5 post-career. SNL, even though he is the worst SNL cast member of all time, which is still fucking hilarious. This is my favorite part of the show. It's my favorite part of the year after year, whether it's an NBA draft, it's an NFL draft. I love my sports, but more than sports itself, I love a draft. So one of the things that I have integrated into my show is how can we draft something into something or someone into something. So tonight we are going to be drafting our fantasy cast member. Yeah, that's it. Our fantasy cast. Okay. Yeah. 10 spots. Your fantasy cast. Give us a reason why. This can be because of movies. This can be because of characters. This can be whatever.
And are we drafting from previous cast members? Is this what we're doing?
All 46 years.
Bet.
From Belushi to Mckinnon. Whoever. It does not matter. Okay. All right, Theo. So who do you have at your number 1?
Adam Sandler. Easy. All day. Every day.
Any specific reason why? Which character is that gonna bring to your show?
I mean, of course, it's gonna be his movies. You know what I mean? It's gonna be Billy Madison. It's gonna be Happy Gilmore. It's gonna be his most recent comedy special is one of those things that rings true in my heart. Is one of the coolest, most artistic, most well done comedy specials of all time.
I've still been singing that Phone Wallet Keys song ever since the first time I heard it in that special, dude.
Yeah.
Phone, wallet, laptop, keys. Yeah, all day. 100%. Phone, wallet.
Every single day of my life since I've heard that special, I have sang that song.
Yeah, and it just everything in his career basically that he's touched, including Zohan, including Jack and Jill. That's a Pacino thing. Yeah, you've got to include it all for Adam.
Jack and what?
Jack and who again?
Jack and who?
Ridiculous 6 included.
Ridiculous what?
What is that?
Yeah,
never heard of that.
All right, Chase, who you taking for your cast as your number 1?
Well, since Sandman's already on the board, probably gonna have to go Bill Hader.
Okay.
Bill Hader.
What's Bill bringing to the show?
I mean, he's just hilarious, man. I mean, his characters on the show. Plus, I love somebody who's funny that will break character as well. Like, you've got somebody like Jimmy Fallon who just breaks character, and that's why he's funny. But then you have somebody who's funny like Bill Hader, who like cracks sometimes when he's doing what's it, Stefan, on Weekend Update. I mean, he's got such a great list of characters, and even his work outside of SNL has been great as well.
All right, my number 1, I'm going back to the beginning. I'm going Eddie Murphy is my number 1. Just to me, the best stand-up comedian I think that's ever been. He's kind of in that middle between Pryor, Cosby, Hart. It's Eddie Murphy was at a time where for me it's movies aside, it's raw and it's delirious, is what would put him over the top for me. I got your ice cream. I got your one of the funniest shit that I've ever seen.
I actually just watched Raw for the first time.
Really?
For the first time.
I saw Raw when I was like 6.
It was amazing. It was amazing. The whole time I'm like, this could not fly today.
Oh,
this would not fly today at all.
And you're right, though. Without Eddie Murphy, you don't have Kevin Hart. You don't have Chappelle, even. Like some of the most funny, comedians of today that are doing the most, Yeah, that's great. Love Eddie Murphy.
Yep, absolutely. So we're going to wrap it around because I do get my first pick in the second round here. I'm going Fallon. Not a great career in the movies. He's cool on the Tonight Show, but for me, it's the relationship between Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands, which was just hilarious. Whether it was the the closed caption show that he did in his dorm room, or whether they were folding clothes at the store, was just, it was so hilarious because they would just make each other laugh the whole time. Yeah. Or even what was it, the skit that he did with Will Ferrell and Drew Barrymore, the lovers skit in the hot tub,
in the hot tub,
and the beard started falling off of Will Ferrell. Oh,
and Rachel Dratch too,
Yeah.
right? Was,
Oh,
yeah.
I love Rachel Dratch.
yep.
I love her.
So yeah, I'm taking Fallon in the second round here. Chase, we're taking it back to you. Who's your second pick?
Well, I don't think he's the funniest cast member by any means. He definitely has more misses than hits, but I feel like it'd be wrong to not choose Kenan Thompson.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think that motherfucker lives there at this point. And I also, I grew up with Kenan Thompson. Like before Saturday Night Live, it was all that for me.
Yeah.
And I remember all that was my Saturday Night Live as a kid. I would watch it anytime it was on TV. They just dropped this Nickelodeon documentary on Hulu like a couple months ago. And I think where they really messed up was not making those shows available to watch as soon as I was done with that documentary, because all I wanted to do was watch all that and Kenan and Kel. And I mean, he's been at this for so long.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
You got to.
Yep. Theo, who's your number 2 pick?
Tim Robinson.
Okay.
Okay. Everything he's written is exactly the thing that I need to be laughing at that exact time it comes out. I Think You Should Leave is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen because it is 2 steps past irreverent. Everything that he's in on Saturday Night Live, every sketch is 40% more uncomfortable, and you need that guy. Who's that guy now? I couldn't tell you.
How long was he on the show?
That's fair.
How long? I think he was only on for a season, maybe 2. He wrote, I think he probably acted on 1, but he wrote for like 4.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to give his show another shot. I love weird humor. I've watched that Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun like 15 damn times, but I had a hard time with I Think You Should Leave. I might need to give that one another go.
The opening skit on I Think You Should Leave is him opening the door the wrong way. Come on. If that
it was pretty damn funny.
If that doesn't hook you for the first, that's one of those most untouchable. He's underrated because his writing is so funny to me. And that show is basically, I Think You Should Leave, is composed of things that Lorne Michaels was like, no, that's too fucking weird. No one's gonna like that. And I love that.
Theo, wrapping it around, who's your first pick in the 3rd round here?
I've got to say it's going to be Pete Davidson.
Okay.
That guy has got a really, really bright career ahead of him and currently is so funny to me. He's a cultural icon for a lot of reasons, but I think that guy is going to be huge. Judd Apatow sees something in him, which means it's soon. His break is going to be so soon.
Oh, yeah. He's already gotten so much more work. He's in the upcoming Suicide Squad. I'm super hyped on that.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what James Gunn is going to do with the leftover abomination that was the original movie. All right, Chase, moving on to your 3rd pick here. Who you're taking?
Let's see here. I mean, it is a fantasy draft here, so
there you go.
I'd have to say Farley. I'd love to have Farley back.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
He's one of the best. He's he's definitely one of the guys responsible for getting me so into Saturday Night Live. I said before that I caught that episode when I was a kid at the emergency room, but it wasn't until I started getting the best of DVDs and I just couldn't get enough of Chris Farley. Plus, Black Sheep, Tommy Boy, they're classics.
Yeah, that's what does it for me too. There's a couple different things. Me being a huge David Spade fan, Tommy Boy and Black Sheep are just classic. Just that buddy kind of comedy thing. What was your favorite Farley skit? Did you have a favorite character?
Oh,
whether it be Matt Foley or
Matt Foley is just such a great bit, especially just because of David Spade in that skit, just trying to keep it together.
Between him and Applegate. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I was trying to remember who else was playing the sister. And then the one that I always think of that I quote all the time is El Nino.
Yeah.
He's like, I am El Nino, Spanish for the Nino.
The Nino.
Just think I think it's hilarious.
I think for me, it's the interview. Whenever he would with Paul McCartney, when he's like, "You remember when you were with the Beatles?" And that was pretty cool. Yeah, definitely how I am. Anytime I meet a celebrity, I'm like, "Do you know who you are?" And it always kind of brings me back to those Farley moments. Awesome. All right, moving on to my pick here in the third round. I am probably gonna bounce right off of you, Chase, and I'm going with David Spade. Absolutely humongous fan. I love the show Lights Out that he did on Comedy Central. For me, it was the Bye-Bye skits on SNL. I mean, he kind of killed his SNL career with the Eddie Murphy joke. Look, a falling star, but for movies, it's probably the Benchwarmers. One of my absolute favorite. I think just a very underrated movie. But him and John Heder and Robbie Schneider.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Really?
I watch it
once a month.
Yeah, I think I probably watched it when it came out. The thing I remember vividly is I think it was John Heder's character. He ate sunscreen.
Yeah.
I love
Nick
that.
Swartzen.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Swartzen.
Just there's so many just great moments in that movie. All right, we're gonna wrap it around here for the fourth round. My pick. I am really surprised. This is one of those he fell so far down, and we gave him so much praise when we were talking about post SNL careers. I'm going to Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell is still not been taken yet, and I don't understand how that's possible. Will Ferrell for me, it's the dad barbecuing was what made me fall in love with him. That and An Evening at the Dinner Table. When everybody was just yelling on top of each other, and he would say something off the wall shit that would everybody would stop yelling, and he was like, "I drive a Prius" or whatever, and it was just what the hell? It was it was him and Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think, was in that skit, and I can't remember who the mom was, but yeah, Will Ferrell for me, definitely. Chase, who are you going with for your fourth rounder?
Let's see here. How many rounds are we going?
We're going 10 rounds.
10 rounds. Okay.
10 rounds.
All right. Well, then my next one, I'm gonna go Sandberg.
Andy
Sandberg. The man that ushered in the digital short era.
Little sandwich.
I was kind of thinking on this the other day. I feel like ever since Adam Sandler, there's always been an Adam Sandler type.
Yeah.
I think Andy Samberg took that over, and now I think Pete Davidson is that person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He did something on last night's episode that I'm like, that was very Sandler of you. But and you mentioned earlier the one skit in particular, besides all the Lonely Island stuff, because I loved Lonely Island. I had their CDs when I was younger. Was the people getting punched in the face before eating. I mean, just what a ridiculously funny skit.
I think that one and the one they did with, then Ellen Page, now Elliot Page, the nightmare skit that they did. He would she would wake up, or he would wake up. Page would wake up from a nightmare, and it was almost like a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream, and it just kept going over and over, and then it ended with a vampire, and it was they were scared of something, and it was just so ridiculous, how they would start with one thing and go to another.
There's that other one. I think it's called Great Day. Is what it's called.
Oh yeah,
and he's all hopped up on coke.
Oh yeah. The music was, I mean, starting off from Lazy Sunday to Lazy Sunday 2, the music was so clever how he did it. I mean, it went from the digital shorts onto the Lonely Island.
Yeah.
Go Kindergarten. It's one of my favorites.
And he went on, I think it's such an underrated movie, Pop Star.
God, yes.
Oh yeah, I thought that was hysterical and very underrated. I feel like not a lot of people jumped in on that one.
Absolutely. Theo, who are you taking for your fourth?
My fourth is going to be Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig.
Classic.
Why
I mean,
Kristen? She's our first female on the draft here.
Well, I mean, when Bridesmaids came out, I didn't think it was very funny, but upon rewatching it very recently, that movie cracks me up. And Kristen Wiig as the lead and the romantic interest is one of those things that kind of rings true in that movie, as well as like most Apatow movies, where like the nerd is really good at sex for some reason.
Right.
Like that whole vibe. I really like it. And then obviously Skeleton Twins is one of my favorite movies of all time. And you know, Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader are both in that, as well as Ty Burrell from Modern Family.
Right.
Like lots of great people in that movie. So Kristen Wiig is my number fourth pick.
That is your fourth pick. Now you get to wrap it around for your fifth.
Bill Hader.
Can't take Bill Hader.
Can't take Bill Hader.
Why? What? Who took Bill Hader?
I took Bill Hader.
Chase took Bill Hader. That was his first pick.
That's okay. This was great. This is really good. I'm definitely prepared for this. I'm not scrolling through a list of.
I'm glad my list consists of 25 people, just in the event.
Just in case, yeah.
Oh, Chevy Chase. Let's go with Chevy Chase, my boy, Chevrolet Chase. From things like obviously National Lampoon to Community, one of my favorite television shows of all time.
I have a love-hate relationship with Community. I love to hate it. I really do. And it's a show, and I'll put Big Bang Theory as the same way. I went into the show the same way I left, which was like, all right, that happened. And I've watched Community 3 times all the way through, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because I get the same reaction. I'm like, well, maybe it'll be better this time. And I'm like, nope, still the same. Cool. Chase, what is your number 5 pick when your all-star SNL cast?
Number 5. I'm gonna go with have I done Forte yet?
Will Forte is still on the board.
Well then, Will Forte it is.
William Forte. Why?
William Forte.
What is it that puts him on your list, sir?
I just think every skit he becomes involved with just becomes funnier because he's there. His MacGruber stuff is hilarious. It's definitely, I even think MacGruber is one of the better SNL movies as well. I think that one's kind of underrated.
Yeah.
Like I think that's criminally underrated. The fact that people just don't watch MacGruber, because that movie has so many great bits in it.
Great.
And I've really enjoyed his post SNL career, whether it be stuff like Last Man on Earth and some of the comedy stuff he's done, or Nebraska. He was really good in Nebraska, and I'm really looking forward to him being in this Sweet Tooth on Netflix coming out.
All right, on to me. I'm gonna go Amy Poehler. I was gonna go Sherry O'Terry, and Sherry O'Terry is like the Trish Stratus for me. Mm-hmm. Like she's not, I mean, granted she's not original, but she's in the 90s and she was hilarious. But when I break down the career, the characters that she gave us on the show, 2 of them stick out for me more than anything, and that's gonna be it's gonna be the Rick skit that she used to do with Horatio. Was it Horatio? Mm-hmm. She was like, Rick, and she played the younger sister, and it's gonna be Bronx Beat with her and Maya Rudolph. Was just hilarious, especially the episode. I want to say it was the weekend after Bon Iver performed, and Justin Timberlake came onto the episode the next week, and it was like him and Sandberg were on the couch, and it was just hilarious. everything she does. And then of course 30 Rock, or not 30 Rock, but Parks and Rec is just a phenomenal show. So yeah, I'm gonna go Amy Poehler is my number 5. And that brings me to my 6. I really wish I'd have made no, you know what? I don't need a list. Phil Hartman, that's my number 6. Just a sad, I mean, in the sadness that looms around SNL, I don't think it gets any worse than Phil Hartman is one of the sad ones, murdered. And it that hurt me. Like, I remember that day hearing about it, and then you hear about what transpired about him getting killed and stuff. For me, it was Bill Clinton. His Bill Clinton impression was just incredible. But more than that, it was news radio afterwards.
Nice.
News radio was just an amazing show. The kind of the birth of Joe Rogan. You had Andy Dick on there. You had what's his name from Kids in the Hall as well. So yeah, I'm going Phil Hartman as my number 6. Senior Chase, where are we at? Number 6.
Number 6. I think I'm gonna have to give love to Bobby Moynihan.
Yeah, my boy.
Yeah. Moynihan is just he's hilarious. Trying to think of some of the bits he did while he was on the show. I did the one that comes to mind immediately is like the Michael Keaton Easter skit. He's like, "This is my friend Jordan. He's no almond, but he's a nut." And he's just so ridiculous all the time. And I've always enjoyed him in like when he just kind of pops up in other movies.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Donald Glover fan, and Moynihan was in Mystery Team back when they did the Derek comedy Mystery Team movie, and he was the guy who what were you gonna say?
One of the best, most underrated movies of all time. When it got put on Netflix, it was one of the greatest days of my life.
I'm glad that that's starting to pick up some steam. Like some people have started to catch it over time because it got on Netflix and stuff.
Right,
but
exactly.
Moynihan's character in that movie in particular is definitely my favorite character, especially when he's giving that pep talk to I think Donald Glover, where he's like, "You, me, the bread fucker, we're all the same," you know. And it's just.
All right, Theo, who is your number 6 here?
My number 6 has got to be Norm Mcdonald.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, from everything that he's done on SNL. Some of my favorite Norm skits, for example, is the street gangs, in which they're all like, and then they start dancing and they're like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" They're like,
yeah.
"I don't know." I think actually Robert Downey Jr. was part of that skit, if I remember right. It's one of the better things that he's done on SNL as well. So he really highlighted people on SNL that normally wouldn't have been super great. And also an incredible interview. Norm Macdonald, he's one of the most quick-witted straight man characters I've ever. I fell in love with him from the moment I saw him, and he's got that Stephen Wright style of stand-up where it's a bunch of one-liners that eventually make a story, and I love that. And so Norm Macdonald's got to be my number 6 all day.
And his Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it's great.
Yeah. Love some good old Turd Ferguson. Awesome. All right, so Theo, wrapping around, you've got Adam Sandler, Tim Robinson, Pete Davidson, Kristen Wiig, Chevy Chase, Norm Macdonald. Who is your number 7?
So I don't know how long Sarah Silverman was on SNL, but Sarah Silverman's got to be up there for me. I think it was just a season.
Yeah, one, maybe 2.
I think she wrote for 2 seasons, and that was like how she kind of broke into it. So Sarah Silverman's got to be my number 7 easily. I honestly, her time on SNL wasn't all that memorable. Some of the stuff she did was pretty funny, just as a supporting character, but her post SNL career really, really makes it, for me, her career in general is some of the funniest I've ever seen as far as progression.
Nice. Chase, who are you picking at number 7?
Number 7. I'm gonna go with Rachel Dratch.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's always a nice addition to any skit, whether it be the Lovers skit with Will Ferrell or Debbie Downer. The Debbie Downers are always hilarious.
Dude, that first one, the Disneyland one, is still kills me. For me, it's Zazu. You know, the whole, Fallon, Ben Affleck, all the Boston boys and stuff, and it's just yeah, that shit was good.
Yeah, I if I'm not mistaken, I think she was also in that they did like a commercial, like the Boston commercial recently.
She was in there with
it was like her and Chris Evans and John Krasinski, I think.
Yeah,
like,
Big Poppy, yeah. Smart Pack. Yeah, and then all the reoccurring stuff that she did on 30 Rock as the different characters.
Mhm.
I love that
just so
much.
funny.
And she's still on SNL. Like she'll still stop by
Just
like a whole
show up.
bunch.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're moving into my number 7. And Theo, you reminded me of something here with your 2 picks with Norm Macdonald and Sarah Silverman. So we were talking about Norm Macdonald, Weekend Update. We're talking about Sarah Silverman only being on the show for 1 season. I need somebody to. My person's in on a technicality because he's been on the show. He may not have had that many lines whatsoever, but he was on that show for a while as a writer, and I think he would be just perfect to host Weekend Update, even though he never did it. I'm gonna pull a technicality, and I'm gonna go with Conan O'Brien.
Yes,
as my number 7. To me, the best talk show host. I've been a Conan O'Brien fan since day 1. Since way back in the day, all the way up until his weird Tonight Show stuff. And then when he went to TBS, I found myself falling in love with Conan O'Brien all over again. And sadly, his show is coming to an end now. And he's going to go on to do whatever, probably keep writing for other shows, whether it be stuff like The Simpsons or come back and do stuff with SNL or whatever. I think Conan O'Brien, even though he was never a quote unquote cast member, he showed up in so many as skits as like an extra or somebody in the background, but a writer for so long on SNL and a staple at 30 Rock. So I'm going Conan O'Brien. My number 8. I'm gonna go Steve Martin as my number 8. SNL has been a show that I have gone back. I grew up with the show. We talked about during the 80s and 90s, but when Hulu came about, they had all Saturday Night Lives on there from season 1 all the way 2, and I pride myself in going. I was able to go back and go through all of them. Some of them were really difficult to watch, especially the humor that we're used to now was very different than the humor then. Right. Now we would consider that what they did tame. But Steve
I've been meaning
Martin,
to do that as well. They have it all on Peacock now, I believe. Yeah. Like every season is on Peacock.
For me, it's the movies that are going to put it over the top. 2 in particular. No, it's not even 2. It's Roxanne. It's probably one of my absolute favorite Steve Martin ones. Bringing Down the House with Queen Latifah. Steve Martin, Queen Latifah, and Eugene Levy. It's just comedy gold. Yeah. And then, of course, like what I was talking about before, Bowfinger with Eddie Murphy, Father of the Bride, him and Martin Short together.
Love it.
Oh, Little Shop of Horrors.
Right.
The Jerk, The Three Amigos. Like it's
his
the
Three
catalog.
Amigos.
Yeah, it's his catalog of movies for me. Yeah, Steve Martin is who I'm wrapping around with as my 8th pick. Chase, who you got? Number 8.
So my number 8, I'm gonna go with Melissa Villaseñor.
Okay, yeah.
Just because I just love her. she's just so adorable. I just love her. I for the brief time I was back on social media last year, I did follow her, and it was just so much fun to watch what she was doing in quarantine. And she's so talented, and I love that. You know, there've been, like, she recently did the bit on Weekend Update where she does her Dolly Parton impression. And they're like, was this all just to do your Dolly Parton impression? Like, no.
I remember, I don't remember how long she was on America's Got Talent, but that's the first time I remember seeing her is when she did her audition on stage at America's Got Talent. And it was just so good. I was like, oh, this girl, she's going somewhere. She's going to do something. And sure enough, she shows up on SNL like a year and a half later. And it's like, damn, girl, like you got to get there quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely great choice. Theo, who is your number 8 pick?
So I'm a little bit torn. I've been thinking about it, and I've got to say Tracy Morgan.
Oh, amazing pick. Yeah, I love me some Tracy Morgan.
The best part about Tracy Morgan is that guy cannot fucking talk. Like, he can't say a sentence without either like just like going off in a different direction or just fumbling every single word, which makes his comedy a lot better because everyone else around him is either reacting to what he's saying, like, what the fuck did he just say, or laughing because they realize like every time he does get through his sentence, it's fucking hilarious. Absolute gold. And from every skit that he's done on SNL to his role obviously on 30 Rock, he's just an untouchable, unstoppable force for that big chunk of time. So Tracy Morgan's my number 8.
Absolutely.
I'll go to my grave defending Cop Out.
Oh yeah.
As Kevin Smith fans,
everybody that talks shit on that movie.
As Kevin Smith fans don't recognize that movie at all.
I'm a big Kevin. I actually got a Kevin Smith Funko up there.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed that movie when it came out, and I've only enjoyed it more since then because of the stories that Kevin Smith tells about Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
in the process of making that moving.
I think especially with Tracy Morgan. I've heard many times that he can only do one thing, and I'm sorry. Did you see him on the show on SNL to go from what was it, the homeless dude who lived in the sewer,
right?
That skit that he did with Britney Spears, hilarious. Take that skit and then put it up against Brian Fellow, okay, and then take all that and how clean he was and smooth. On 30 Rock, and it was I think he's just awesome. And then he'll even take his performance, even though it was very small, in Top 5 with Chris Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome. Definitely great pick. Theo, you got 2 more. Who is your number 9 here?
Okay, my number 9 is going to be another 30 Rock alum. It's Chris Parnell.
Oh, great choice.
Nice.
From stuff that he did on the show where his voice is so iconic. So anything else he's a part of is just so much better because he's there. He had a small part in the movie Hot Rod, and that was like his whole part made the entire climax of that movie just absolutely stellar. Like the whole movie up until that point was pretty good, but him showing up and just being there and holding it down is always so good. And the episodes on 30 Rock that he shows up as Dr. Spaceman, the crazy shit he says makes me so fucking happy. Every time there's a Spaceman episode, it's the best episode of 30 Rock every single time.
Absolutely.
His cameos in a lot of stuff are great.
Absolutely.
And I think of his one in 21 Jump Street as the drama teacher.
We've all
look like you have a little Peter in you. And of course Jerry on Rick and Morty.
Yes, of course.
That's his current claim to fame.
I'm currently just getting into Rick and Morty because I'm so hip and down with it. And
yes, absolutely.
I know what to watch. No, definitely. I want a T-shirt so bad of his tattoo. In Hot Rod.
Oh yeah. I'd like to think that he had sex the night before.
It's the exclamation, yeah. All right, Chase. Bill Hader, Kenan Thompson, Chris Farley, Sandberg, Forte, Monahan, Dratch, Melissa. Who is your number 9? You notice how I just went to the first name on that one because I cannot.
Yeah.
Say her, I can't say her
Yeah.
last name. Who's your
I
number
see what
9?
you did there.
Yeah.
Number 9. Well, I think I'm gonna have to go Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, because he's Bill fucking Murray. I know that's not his middle name, but
Should be.
I was gonna say that doesn't seem verified.
Let me look this up real quick.
Honestly, when it comes to SNL, the only thing that really jumps straight into my head is the Star Wars skit. But of course, his career outside of that is just fantastic. All of his classic movies, Ghostbusters, Groundhog's Day,
Caddyshack for me.
Caddyshack, absolutely Caddyshack.
Oh,
Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters
Meatballs.
3.
Well, actually, I was very shocked that the worst part of Ghostbusters 3 was Bill Murray.
Zombieland.
Zombieland. There we go. Back
Okay.
on track.
that was great. That was great.
Garfield. No. Okay.
What are you talking about?
Tale of Two Kitties. Oh,
Fuck
Good-
yes.
good stuff there. That's
Absolutely.
comedy gold.
It's just as good
Osmosis Jones.
as Osmosis Jones.
Okay,
of course.
I
Rock with you.
love that movie.
That one.
Kid Rock in that movie. Awesome. All right. On to my last 2 picks here. I'm rolling back to back to finish this out here, take us into the 10th round. I think my number 9, I'm gonna go Maya Rudolph.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as Polar for me. I'll give it Bronx Beat. But more than that, it's the skit. What was it? She was a Price is Right chick with Kristen Wiig.
Oh my god.
And the scooter and all that stuff. And it was just hilarious.
That is unparalleled, one of the most funny skits of all time. There's the one in which she's singing the national anthem, and at some point she's just like
B to the B to the
So-
R to the A to the oh yeah, that was good stuff. But more than that too, happy what was it? The Good Place
Good Place.
as the judge, Big Mouth.
Big
If
Mouth.
you've never seen Big Mouth,
A lot of her animated work is fantastic.
Yeah.
There was a movie that just came out on Netflix. I really enjoyed, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and she played the
Ooh.
mom in that.
That's on my list.
It was very good.
So yeah, I'm taking Maya Rudolph with that. I hate that I wasn't able to get the trifecta there with Wig and Polar and Rudolph, but at least I have Maya. Yeah, right. At least I have Polar and Rudolph there together. I think I'm gonna go Chris Rock is
Damn it.
my number 10. And it's not to say that he's a number 10 player. He's actually, for me, probably number 3 overall. But there were a lot of cast players that I think needed to be in there to kind of fill spots where Chris Rock is. And I'm still excited to see Spiral, to see what he can do, because I know he can do the dramatic acting. If you've seen the movie, I Think I Love My Wife. It's just so incredible, just an incredible movie. Top 5.
I was going to
Same
say,
thing.
you brought up top 5, and that about put him in my 10th slot.
Yeah, Top
because
5 is
that
such
was
a great movie. And especially like bringing all of those comedians together is just just so funny. But then his work in Dogma,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Head of State.
When's the
Down
Kevin
to
Smith
Earth.
episode? Because I'm here.
Yes,
Down
I'm
to
up for that
Earth
as well.
Yeah, Down to Earth and Head of State, those back-to-back movies.
Mhm.
But especially Down to Earth, him as Lance Barton, it's such a good role for him. Great
Head of
movie.
State is one of those movies where I avoided it for such a long time because I was like, I don't really like political humor. I won't like it. And then it just changed everything.
Yeah.
The roof is on fire.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
fucking good. Great
Bernie
pick.
Mac is his running mate
Oh.
as his brother. It
Love
was
Bernie
just,
Mac.
yeah.
Pour one out, my boy.
Yeah.
No, down the road, we are doing a presidential episode, and it'll probably be like midterms, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, no, that and what was it, Man of the Year, are two of my absolute favorite like presidential movies.
Yeah.
Love Robin Williams in that movie. So yeah, that is my top 10 right there. That's my all-star cast. Chase, who rounds you out?
Well, I think I'm gonna have to go with Kate McKinnon.
Okay.
Since
Kate
nobody else went with Kate
McKinnon.
McKinnon. And she is one where I enjoy her more on Saturday Night Live than outside of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
There are times where she has been good in movies, but I think
Ghostbusters, for example.
Honestly, she was probably one of the best parts of that movie. But
I don't remember her next to Dan Aykroyd or anybody. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
She's there.
She was actually Onion Head. Can you believe it?
Oh, okay.
I have to say, as we're ragging on this Ghostbusters movie, it got demolished just for being an all-woman reboot, and I was all for that. I'm not like, I went back and tried to rewatch that movie recently, and it's just not a good movie. It's just not good movie.
It's got a fan film written all over it.
Yeah.
It's like they got a budget to do a really good college production of Ghostbusters, and it just did not work.
Kind of feels like a Saturday Night Live skit. A very, very long, very, very bad Saturday Night Live skit version of Ghostbusters.
I wanted to like it so bad because, I mean, when the trailer came out, I was like, oh, like the way the ghosts look is like that's clean. It's smooth and stuff.
And it had like good effects. It had its moments, you know.
It did have its moments. But yeah, no, I do agree. I think Kate McKinnon was one of the better parts of it. And I hate it too because I'm a big Leslie Jones fan.
Yeah.
I think she's hilarious. I mean, she plays the same character in every skit. She plays Leslie Jones. If you've ever seen her audition, they knew what they were getting. It's the same thing that she's still, that she did at the end there. But yeah, Kate McKinnon.
But the skits with Kate McKinnon, because right now we're talking about the politics and watching last night's episode, at least 3 characters that she is regularly playing right now. She's playing Fauci. She's playing Giuliani. She's playing all of these political characters right now. But I absolutely love the skits that they've done where she's abducted by aliens.
Oh my god.
And they just they could not keep it together. Like nobody could keep it together. And that's another reason I love Kate McKinnon, is because she's one of those people like Bill Hader that when she's on that stage, herself as well as the people around her are all just struggling to keep their shit together because she's just hilarious.
Absolutely. No, just sitting there spread legged and just the filth that comes out of her mouth. It's just like, one, how did you string those words together? And 2, who talks like that?
The skit I have to bring up from earlier when Kristen Wiig was brought up is the Lawrence Welk show.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
That is one of my all-time favorite Kristen Wiig hits.
Yes, I forgot.
And I'm Eunice. Their little baby hands. This is just so great.
Theo, who is your final pick in your draft?
It was going to be Kate McKinnon, but since I can't have her, Aidy Bryant is my number 10 pick.
Aidy Bryant.
She's a good one.
She's good, and it's one of those modern cast members that you can see her career blossoming like right now, like it's happening. She's got 3 seasons of a really great show on Hulu called Shrill. If you haven't watched it, it's really, 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 really good. Every single episode makes you laugh and cry, and it just like really, really good character building. In that same Alien sketch, Aidy Bryant is the only one that can almost keep it together, but she fucking can't do it. Kate McKinnon's there, she's just like, oh, maybe it was for scientific purposes. Nah, this one felt real fucking off the book. Love it. Yeah, Aidy Bryant, she's a rock star because when they share a stage together, it's absolutely just the funniest thing you've ever seen. They just make each other laugh so much, and it's great.
Awesome. Great all-star cast here. Now, one thing that we have not talked about, and that you don't know. So I'm going to kind of keep you on your toes here. You can't have a cast, and you can't have a Saturday Night Live without two things. Who is your dream host and your musical guest? So, Theo, we'll start with you. Who is your host and musical guest for this?
Okay, great. Jerry Seinfeld's my host, of course.
Okay.
Because with the cast that I listed, Jerry Seinfeld would just absolutely be one of the funniest hosts of all time because of the stuff that he's done. Indiana Jones fought the, besides snakes, Nazi. Come on. Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld's my host, of course.
Nice. And who's your musical guest? Your dream? I mean, it doesn't even have to be anybody that's been on the show.
Let's see.
Who's tickling the ivories or rocking the Casbah at
This is a
SNL?
tough one.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would love to see. I think with Jerry Seinfeld hosting and the cast that I've listed, it's got to be the Ramones. It's got to be the 1980 lineup of the Ramones. Easy.
Nice.
Chaos.
Mr. Chase.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I feel like musical guest. I'm a big Gorillaz fan, so I feel like I would really like to see Gorillaz.
Wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all like to see them? But are you having the CGI Gorillas?
Yeah,
At SNL.
yeah, I would totally, absolutely. I thought if Billie Eilish can do her trippy little SNL,
that was so cool though.
that was definitely cool.
I'm a big.
I
Billie
will say
Eilish
about
fan, yeah.
the because I did want to discuss the musical aspect of SNL.
Yeah.
Because I for the longest time hated it. I hated the musical
Really?
performances because of the setup. I just thought the setup. I always just felt like everybody sounded bad
Yeah.
on Saturday Night Live.
SNL music
Black
guests-
Keys came around, and because of the way they sounded,
Yeah.
it sounded all right. But I feel like they've tweaked it recently, and because even watching last night's episode, I'm like, yeah, this sounds a lot better.
So you have the Gorillas as your musical guest. Who is
Gorillaz-
your host?
I feel like I want to say Jim Carrey, just because I love Jim Carrey. He's the whole reason I do what I do. He's the whole reason I've gotten into film. And even though he's done it before, and it's always to mixed results, I always take more Jim Carrey.
Yeah. See, I'm really surprised.
Especially with that Dreamcast.
with Sandberg there. I thought you were gonna go JT. Because that would it's just awesome to me. You know you're gonna get a good digital short. You know you're gonna get the two guys. For me, it's between two people. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this on a tech. I'm gonna get technical with this shit, okay? Because I had it between two hosts. But you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it. My host is gonna be Ryan Gosling.
Nice.
Just an absolute, just funny ass dude when he's on that show.
Mhm.
The skits that he would do with Adie Bryant during like the birthday party, and she would like flirting with him. Oh yeah, right. Like, and he would just like break every single time. It's just
He was in that Alien skit too, right?
Yeah,
With
the Alien one,
Keaton?
yeah,
He was.
absolutely. And you know what? I'm going Justin Timberlake as my musical guest because you know he's going to be in skits anyways. They can't not. You're gonna have to bring it on down to whatever town. Yeah, I'm going JT as my musical guest. I'm going Ryan Gosling as my host of my dream cast. I think Fallon and Timberlake could do some stuff together. It would be interesting to see skits with Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock, as well as Polar and Ferrell together would just be, I think, comedy gold. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming on to the show today. It's been a blast. SNL has been part of my life since as long as I can remember. So to be able to sit down with two, as you learned, a new word, stands,
I
You
just learned
know,
that.
SNL stands here. It's nice, and especially in a world that is ever changing and can be very political, except for what we're in right now. A lot of people don't watch SNL, or even before all this stuff, SNL's not good. It's not funny. It's people like the two of you who can truly appreciate comedy gold, is what I like to call it. It is the Velveeta of TV for comedy gold. I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate you being on the show, talking about Saturday Night Live. Any kind of social media, podcast, anything you want to plug, Theo? Where can we find you and your information, your podcast, anything like that?
I live in a log cabin in the middle of any woods. Just going to any large, thick patch of woods, and I'll be there.
Gotcha. Nothing to plug?
Nothing to plug today, except for on God, no cap. This has been a very 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 good time.
Awesome. Chase, where can we find you? What is your podcast? All that information, give it to me.
When I'm not in the woods like Theo, you can find me at chaseandshep.com, the Chase and Shep Show on YouTube, facebook.com/Chase and Shep, or Chase and Shep on Snapchat. But you're not going to find me individually.
No, I tried looking because I posted something on Instagram and I was like, oh, I'm just going to post this stuff.
No, nope, like, not a social media guy.
Yeah, I see.
Nope, the co-host runs all that.
Gotcha. Well, guys, thank you all so much for coming in like you are here in my bedroom. There's just different blocks. They look like different things, but you're right there and you're right there. Now,
it's really
thank you
nice.
for
it's a good broom.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. This has been Shorts and Hoodies, the SNL episode. Yeah, find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and of course right here on YouTube. We are here each and every Thursday. Yeah, I will see y'all next week. Peace.
Cut the check.